What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next video. So today we're going to be talking about if statements. Last time I said that we would like to implement some conditions in our program, and we would like to do some stuff whether or not these conditions are true. Okay, so let's start off with asking the user what their age is. So what we're going to do is write age equals input, enter your age, colon space. This is what we've been doing this is what we've done last time. So if you haven't seen my previous video, make sure to check it out and you will understand exactly what's going on here. And the next thing we would like to do is cast this into an integer. So whenever we use input, this thing saves a string. So age will be a string of text when we finish typing something in the terminal. Now we would like age to be a number because age is a number, an integer. So let's say age equals int of input. Okay, so now the fun begins. Let's create our first if statement. So what if statements are basically blocks of code that execute if a given condition is true. So let's say if age is greater than or equal to 18. Now this comparison operator will give us a boolean, meaning either true or false. And if it gives us true, then whatever we write next, meaning whatever we write after this indent here, below the if statement, this code will be executed. So what would we like to execute if someone is over 18? Well, we can print out you can apply for your driver's license. All right, so let's test this code out. Let's hit run, and you see we're prompted to enter our age. So let's go ahead and enter 21, that's my age, hit enter, and it prints out you can apply for your driver's license. However, if we were to enter a different age, for example, the reverse of mine, which is 12, well, nothing will happen because this if statement here didn't let us pass because our age wasn't greater than or equal to 18. So another thing that we would like to do here is print out a message in the opposite case, because right now we only have a case for people whose age is greater than or equal to 18, but we would like to print out a message if someone is younger than 18 years old. We can print out, for example, you are too young. So what Python allows us to do is write an else statement right here. So else colon, this is how you actually end every one of these statements with colons right here. So after we write else, we can print out something else. We can print out you are too young. So let's run this code again. Let's type in 12 and it says you are too young. So as you can see, we are using indentation here in order to mark whether or not the code should run inside an if statement or not. Because this here only runs if you're over 18. This here only runs if you're under 18. So if we were to write something here with no indentation at the same level as the if and else statement. For example, if we were to write print your age is, comma, age. So let's run this, enter your age. I'm gonna be 30 years old today, example. And what happened here? So since we are 30, we are over 18, this line of code has printed out. So we can apply for your driver's license. What happened else? Well, we have this message in our code, meaning your age is 30, which means that this code isn't part of this else statement because it's not indented. If it were indented like this, well, entering 30 again, we wouldn't get this message printed out. All right, let's create our First, very simple game. So this will be a number guessing game. So the first thing we're going to do is ask the user for his guess. So let's say guess equals int of input, enter your guess. All right, apart from that, we will need a valid number. So let's say valid underscore number, and I'm going to set this to the lucky number 7. So if you guess that the number is 7, then it will print out, yay, you guessed. And if you enter a number that's greater than 7, the program will write that you have entered a number that's too big. And of course, if it's less than 7, then it will type out that the number is too small. So let's do this. First, let's check if the guess is equal to 7, meaning to our valid number. How do we do this? Well, we type if guess is equal to valid number. Now, I've used two equal signs here because this is actually comparing. This is answering the question, okay, is guess the same thing as valid number? We don't use one equal sign here because one equal sign is used to assign a variable. We've been assigning variables for a couple of videos right now, so you've seen the use of a single equal sign. So if the number is equal to the valid number, then we're going to print out, your guess is correct. Right now, we had only the case of two states, meaning if something is true, and we had an else. So if it's true or if it's not true, meaning in this case, if it's not equal to 7. But we want to have two cases. We want to have a case if it's greater than 7, and we want to have a case if it's less than 7. Well, Python allows us to do such a thing. We have the elif keyword as well. So we have if, and then we're going to write elif guess is greater than valid underscore number. What we're going to do here is print out your guess is too big. Okay, so what this does. First, it checks if guess is the same as valid number. And if it is the same, then it stops right here. It doesn't invoke this elif. Now, if the guess is not equal to the valid number, then it goes to the next block after it. The next block is the elif block. And it checks if guess is greater than the valid number. Of course, if it is greater, then it prints out something. Now, if it's not greater, then we can actually add another elif here. We can add elif guess is less than valid number, but actually this is the last case that we can have. So we can actually say else. Because if the guess is not the same as the valid number, and if the guess is not greater than the valid number, well then the guess has to be less than the valid number. So this is the resulting. So this is the only opposite case, which means that we can use else to handle that. So let's say print your guess is too little. Okay, let's run this program. Let's enter your guess. I'm going to enter 1000. And it's going to say your guess is too big. It didn't check this one. This first if statement got us false, meaning it didn't execute this. But the next statement actually got true, meaning this line of code did execute. If we were to write 7, it will say your guess is correct and it didn't invoke any of these. And the last case, if we write -7, for example, it's going to say your guess is too little, meaning neither this one or this one was correct. Okay, so now what we've been doing is writing simple print statements inside of these if statements. What we would like to actually do, and what's actually very practical, what you see very often, is modifying the values of some variables inside the if statements. For example, if your guess is the valid number, then you can actually change this guess. This would make no sense. However, in more complex applications, you want to actually change the values of some variables if some statement is true, and if it's false, then you might want to change something else or change that same variable to some other value. Now, in order to do so, you have lots of different options. One of them are going to be operators, specifically mathematical operators, some math functions, and this is what we're going to be talking about in the next video. So stay tuned, and I will see you then.